There are a few things that can reset your soul, like getting away from your daily routine and spending time exploring, bonding with your kids, and fellowshipping with brand new friends. This spring, I decided to embark on my biggest overland journey yet, a 5-day, 400-mile adventure from Alabama to South Carolina across the Georgia Traverse. They say a great story includes a hero's journey, the main character overcoming some massive obstacle to win the day. In short, there needs to be a sense that the hero could fail, that things could go wrong, and when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And in overlanding, that's just par for the course. But what happens when things don't go wrong? When you simply must go and the going is, well, simple. When it makes you appreciate your friends and family even more and leaves you feeling transformed, and you're left with a sense of gratitude that God gave you some time to create new memories, bond with your teenage boys, and make new lifelong friends. Well, I'll tell you what happens. This was a guy's trip. My 2 teenage sons, Cameron and Will, joined me for a 5-day epic spring break adventure. The Georgia Traverse had been on my bucket list for a while, and we knew this adventure would give us everything we wanted, but I didn't know it would also give us everything we needed. We also met up with some new friends, Dee and his son Carver, who have a YouTube channel called Carving Up the Trails. We started our 6-hour drive from South Carolina to Dalton, Georgia, starting our trip on the Alabama side of the Georgia Traverse and working our way back to South Carolina. From research, we expected that the trip would get progressively more exciting as we headed east, and we wanted to end on high notes and have a relatively short drive home once it was finished. We knew the stretch from Alabama to Dalton was mostly blacktop, and after a long day of driving, we decided to start the trail in Dalton so we could get to our campsite relatively early.
According to my Gaia GPS, we are now officially on the Georgia Traverse.
That is correct. We are on dirt. We are now officially overlanders. It looked like a storm was on its way, a theme that would chase us all the way across Georgia. An easy wind campsite would give us a chance to set up and spend some time together before the real adventure began the next morning. While this site wasn't the most picturesque campsite, it was relatively quick, easy, and free, which worked perfectly for us for the first night as our 2 groups got to know each other. This is a forestry campsite, but it's free. It's really nice. It's right on the creek here, so we're not alone necessarily, but given how tired we were from just driving from basically Columbia through Atlanta to Dalton. It's a long day. We just wanted to kind of get settled in, get kind of acclimated to being on this trip, get to know Dee and Carver a little bit because, you know, the boys had never met any of them. And so this is a chance for us to kind of bond without having to do a lot of extra work. So it's been really nice so far. I will say it's a little windy out and it's been raining a lot. And I'm hoping that that doesn't continue through the night. It shouldn't. We'll probably have some wind, but hopefully no rain tonight. As Dee and I set up our prospective camps, the boys quickly took to bonding over RC off-roading. As a dad, one thing I had running through my mind was this was really the boys' first trip. They'd done one overnight camping trip with me before, but nothing quite like this. I wanted to make this time exciting for them and make sure that we had some quality time around camp. Luckily, our camp neighbor had just the thing. So our awesome camp neighbors told us that just around the corner here is a great waterfall. So before dinner, we're actually taking a quick little 1-minute hike to check out this waterfall. And that is gonna make today, it's gonna be a nice ending to today, I think. Yeah, this is like a legit waterfall. This is awesome. This is a cool little trail. And it's like just right off the campsite. It's like 1 minute. That's all it takes to get over here. This area was once heavily mined for gold and gems. Dee pointed out these quartz veins in the rock, Early prospectors would look at these veins because it was a great sign that gold, emeralds, and rubies might be found. We were off to a great start, and as we bonded around the campfire, we were all excited to see what tomorrow would bring. Good morning. It's nice and early. It's a little chilly, but not cold. It was a great night last night. Everything went well. No rain, no wind, good sleep. So we are ready for today. The plan for today is to do the Big Frog Loop. That's going to take us most of the day based on all the calculations and timing and things like that. So we'll do the Big Frog Loop and then we'll find camp shortly after that. But I'm really excited about today. So we're going to make breakfast, tear down camp, and then hit the road. A few days before we got here, a massive storm system blew its way across upper Georgia, and one of our big concerns on this trip was going to be dealing with downed trees. We knew it was more of a matter of when and not if. The signs of the recent storm were all around us, and it wasn't long before we started thinking trees might become an issue. Thankfully, we weren't the first to have come this way, and most of the trees we passed had already been cut. It was a tight fit, but the trail was just wide enough to let us pass. Eventually, we found one we couldn't get around. I was wondering when we were going to come across a downed tree, though this one came down and someone's cut it, but they didn't really cut it wide enough. So I don't know if they were just on an ATV or something like that, or a four-wheeler or something, but anyway, we're going to cut the rest of it so the Jeeps can actually get through. All right, chainsaw came in helpful.
Close my eyes, you're looking back at me. As real as autumn air, I take and breathe. Try as you might, but you can't.
As we headed up the mountain around Big Frog Loop, the trail began to get wetter and started to give us more ruts and washouts. These were more fun than challenging, but it made for a little bit of a slower pace.
All right, we have had an awesome time on the trail so far. The trail getting up here has been fantastic. It hasn't been so crazy hard, but it's definitely been fun. Lots of little rocks and ruts and things like that. So it's definitely been a fun trail. We're up at the Hemp Top Trail now, the trailhead, for lunch because it's about midday. So we're gonna eat and then we're gonna hit the road again and get back, finish up the rest of Big Frog Loop, and then camp on the other side of the trail there. So, been an awesome day. Really looking forward to the rest of this trail. Carver and Dee have been awesome. We've just been having a great time, and the kids have really liked it. So, today has totally been a win. Everything's been great so far. I'm really excited about it. And I'm really excited about getting to camp nice and early so that we don't have to do all this stuff in the dark.
The terrain was slow and bumpy, but just when it started to feel like it was never going to end, we got a glimpse of just how majestic the Appalachian Mountains can be. The Georgia Traverse has a way of reminding us that there is a deeper beauty to be found if you just take the time to look for it.
There is none more beautiful than you to me.
It was getting to be a long day, and we'd been on the trail for almost 8 hours. And Dee and I made the decision to find a campsite sooner rather than later. Our bellies were rumbling and the kids were ready for a break, and truth be told, so were we.
All right, it has been a long day. We have pulled into camp. We're staying at a forestry campsite again, just because we spent 8 hours on the trail today. We're all exhausted and we wanted to get in while there was still some sunlight to get set up. And I'm super glad we did, because as we were setting things up, we looked in the trailer and the trailer is soaked because the jug of water that we had in there, I guess, leaked a lot. And now that we have a waterproof trailer, it's all just in there. And so everything in there was wet from that top coming off and leaking and getting bounced around. And so it's kind of a mess that I'm trying to figure out how to deal with, but at least I'm dealing with it in the light. I've already soaped up a lot of the water, but this guy right here, this blue Walmart jug, failed me. This thing right here apparently was not tight and bounced off, and then just that trail was super bumpy and it just sloshed water all over the place and made a huge mess. I'm really disappointed in that, but it is what it is, I guess. Not much I can do about it but try to clean it up and keep things as dry as possible. So that's what I'm doing, and everyone else is finishing setting up camp. So we're all very hungry. It's been a long day, and I got spicy chicken fajita quesadilla kind of thing going on. The kids like it as a quesadilla. I'm probably gonna have it as like a burrito. But anyway, spicy chicken quesadilla fajita stuff for us. All right, so what's on the dinner menu for you guys tonight?
We're going simple. We're doing hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
Tomorrow we'll do shrimp foil packets, but hot dogs tonight.
While dinner is cooking, I guess I should walk you around camp, because we've got a bunch of different stuff going on with the rigs, and let you meet Dee and Carver. So first of all, we got the Southlander, we've got the Outland Motor Works rooftop tent and awning. I don't have the awning out tonight, I don't really need it. We've got Dee and his Gladiator back there, but we also have the trailer. You've seen that. So that's Littlefoot, the Jurassic Park trailer, with another Outland Motor Works rooftop tent. What's great about Outland Motor Works is they let you rent tents, so you can try them before you buy them. So this is actually a rental rooftop tent that we got for this trip so we could put it on Littlefoot, and it's worked out really, really well to have that. I'm really glad we did that. But yeah, go check out Outland Motor Works, because you can rent rooftop tents so that you can try before you buy, or if it's just like a one-time thing and you just need to rent a tent for a couple of days, that's a solution. Go check it out. So despite some of the setbacks with wet gear, we've actually had a fantastic trip so far, a fantastic night. Camp here, even though we're at another sort of free forestry site, and there are people around, but there's no one really close, and our spot feels fairly secluded. We're right up against the river here, so and there's some waterfallish kind of rapids. It's tiny, but it's there and you can hear it, and so it just feels very calm and very nice and very secluded. So that's great. This was an easy button again tonight because it had been a long day. It took us 8 hours to drive 51 miles. So we're a little tired. We got bounced around a lot today, but it was great. It was a lot of fun. Had a great time. Tomorrow we got to finish the loop, and then we're going to go do some other sort of side trails to the Georgia Traverse. Assuming that timing all works out, we've got to go into town to get some more supplies and some more fuel because we're both starting to run a little bit low. We definitely don't have enough to get us through all day tomorrow and then gas on Thursday. So we're going to hopefully get to a gas station before we run into issue. I've got 2 roto packs with me as backup, but that's all the spares that we've got at the moment. So gas is going to become a priority tomorrow for sure, as well as getting some other supplies because we just couldn't bring an entire week's worth of stuff with us. So we're going to have to get some more supplies. Hopefully it all works out, and there's going to be some awesome trails and some water crossings tomorrow. I'm really pumped about it. So stay tuned. Keep watching. It's going to be a good one. Good morning. So last night was great. Everyone seemed to sleep really well. I think everybody was very tired and the trip fatigue was setting in. So people slept well, were refreshed. It's a nice cool morning, but again, not cold or anything like that. Today's plan is we've got to get out of the Chihuahua wilderness and into the Rich Mountain wilderness. We've also got to get fuel and we've got to get some supplies. So there's a lot we got to get done today and a lot of miles we got to put in. I'm hoping the miles today don't take nearly as long as the miles took yesterday. So hopefully we'll make up some time and gain some ground there. But overall, still so far an amazing trip. Everyone's having a great time. This morning though, we're gonna make it pretty chill. We're just gonna do Pop-Tarts for breakfast. We don't have to do anything fancy. Pop-Tarts, pack up, get on the road, and have an adventure. Let's do this. Today's video is brought to you by Pop-Tarts. When you're too lazy to make breakfast, Pop-Tarts.
You realize it's hotter now than it was the high on Monday?
I wouldn't mind it cooling off a little bit more.
At least it's taking the humidity out. It'd be a lot easier.
Wow, check out these rocks like straight up on the side here. The road coming out of Big Frog Loop felt smoother, and we started making up some of our miles from the previous day. Yeah, mine's saying 69 miles to empty, but that's not going to be accurate because I'm only getting like 12 miles to the gallon right now.
Yeah, I'm getting about 13.4.
Alright, so it is day 3 on the Georgia Traverse. We're just finishing up Big Frog Loop, and I'm very low on gas. I've got about 50 miles or so left in my tank, and we're not 100% sure when there's going to be a gas station that we can get to. We got to get, kind of off the mountain and then back into civilization and to a gas station. So that's the plan. I'm not overly worried about it. I think we've got enough range to do it, and I also have the 2 roto packs, but it's definitely one of those things that's starting to weigh in the back of my mind is, do we have the range to get to gas? And with the trailer and the extra weight and the JKU and all that stuff, we've just not been getting our normal gas mileage. So it's one of those things where we're just burning more fuel than normal, and now we've got to figure out, how to fill up. So I think plan A should be finding a place to get some gas.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the closest that we've got is there on Highway 5, which, if we follow it, is going to take us right to it. So I just can't believe the amount of trash that we've seen on the sides of the road.
Yeah, case in point right there. It's a shame. I don't know what people are thinking. If we had more time, we'd be interested in maybe stopping and cleaning some of it up, but maybe that's something for the future, is to plan like a trail cleanup across the Georgia Traverse. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah, try and get a couple other people, like maybe McClellan and Cotty Waffle to join us.
Oh, wouldn't that be a thing?
I think that'd be awesome. You know, it'd be really awesome is if we could get Will from Venture to Rome all the way out here to help with the cleanup.
Whoa, this is tight. YouTuber event? Like, that could be a big deal. He might do it. That's a long trip for him.
Yeah, we could maybe get Rob Revere.
I think we're solving all the world's problems here today. We've come up with some great ideas so far.
I think we're making a plan here.
I feel like we're the A-team, and all of a sudden it's like, I love it when a plan comes together.
That was my absolute favorite show growing up.
So do we need code names now? Like, can I be Murdoch and you be Mr. T?
Why? Because my hair's lined?
True story. I'll have to tell you this. This is one of the craziest things that ever happened. So I had a German Shepherd named Scout, and Scout was huge. And Scout never cared about television at all. I could have the TV on and he just, whatever, didn't make a bit of difference to him. One day, I'm watching TV, and Mr. T comes on, and Scout looks up, he goes to the TV, and he starts licking Mr. T.
That's awesome.
It's the only time he's ever paid attention to television at all, and it was to go give Mr. T some licks.
Now that's a quality story right there. Well, I think we all know who Ace would be. That would be Cameron.
That's very true. Cameron would definitely be Ace. You know who Carver could be? He could be Stringfellow Hawk in some sort of epic crossover with Airwolf.
These kids have no idea what we're talking about.
We're building the most epic 80s crossover event ever. It would be like the 80s universe.
Then we just need Steve to join in. He could be MacGyver. We'd have to get him a wig, though.
I was thinking the same thing. He would totally be MacGyver. How come we never got that as kids? How come we never got the epic crossover events? Like Knight Rider showing up in an A-Team episode?
I mean, that would just be absolutely epic. These kids don't understand. Did you ever watch the Dino Riders?
Did I watch the Dino Riders? I had all the Dino Riders.
Me too.
And Silverhawks?
Yep. I never really did get into the collecting the Transformer figurines. I was more of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle guy.
Oh, I had all the turtles too. I loved me some turtles.
When we were looking at it, there's a gas station up here.
Bueno, that's awesome. So we've hit blacktop and things are going pretty well. Actually I've gained some mileage now that we're going a little faster, so we should definitely hit a gas station without any issues. It's smooth sailing now. This is that section right after the forest where you're on some paved road for a while, and that's gonna make things pretty simple. It's nice to kind of get out. I missed my turn because I was talking to the camera. I did. All right, I'm turning around. All right, so we stopped and we got gas. We stopped at Walmart. We got some supplies. Now we are heading back in. We're gonna go explore Caches Valley for the rest of the day. There should be some great trails, some good water crossings. It should be a lot of fun. Caches Valley is about a 7-mile out and back trail near Cherry Log, Georgia. It's an absolutely stunning trail full of fun, but relatively easy water crossings. Up until this point, it was by far my favorite section of trail, and even now, looking back at it, I think it's absolutely a must-do for anyone doing the Georgia Traverse. Dee and I felt like kids playing with toys as we drove through water crossing after water crossing.
Some of these are deeper than they look.
When you don't have a lift, they're all deeper than they look.
That's funny.
It was just the thing to lift our spirits, put us back into adventure mode, and let us reflect on just how amazing this trip really was.
It's not an overly difficult trail, but it is absolutely beautiful back here.
So Caches Valley turned out to be both beautiful and a lot of fun. Some great water crossings, and at the end here is the Caches Valley Cemetery. And so we're just gonna kind of be respectful, but look around and kind of explore and just check out the area a little bit. Couple of things, both Dee and I noted this on the way in. It looks like there's some spots as people come through this trail that they're going off trail and they're messing up some areas. And that's going to end up causing problems in the long term, not just for the trail itself, but for everybody, because they're going to end up closing places like this to the public if people are abusing that. So if you're going to go down a road like this, be respectful of it, be kind, tread lightly, don't mess anything up, and just stick to the road. So this little cemetery is pretty, but as a parent it's kind of tough because you see a lot of graves of children, kids that were 5, 6, some as young as 2, 1, things like that. So as a parent, that's rough, but it is a very beautiful little cemetery, and I'm very glad that we stopped at it. Be respectful of these kinds of places too. Don't leave trash, watch where you step, all that kind of stuff.
It was time to head back to the Traverse, which meant we got to do all the water crossings again, and that was just fine with us.
We've got some horses coming up on the left. All right, Caches Valley, definitely worth the detour. Put it on your list if you're gonna do the Georgia Traverse. We're gonna be on paved road for a while, so we're gonna go ahead and air up until we get back to dirt, because we've got a pretty long stretch of blacktop, I think, and then we'll hit dirt again. So we're gonna air up and then keep heading down the trail.
What are the 3 main invasive wildlife species that are found in South Carolina?
I'm gonna go with feral hogs.
The coyote and the armadillo.
Coyote and armadillo? I wouldn't have guessed that.
We seemed to be making good time, and one of our goals was to see as many of the sights along the way as possible, so we detoured again to Benton McKay Falls.
So we've decided to make another detour. There's a waterfall that we're stopping to go and check out. It's about a half-mile hike from the road, and
Well, quite honestly, this is why we gave ourselves so much time to do the Georgia Traverse, is so that we'd have time to stop and explore and see all the pretty sights. Well, not all of them, but see the pretty sights that we wanted to see along the way. So hopefully I'm in shape enough to hike a half mile to this waterfall. All right, so Dee and I, we're lagging behind a little bit from the kids. They're way ahead, and we're just trying to survive this, but it's not too much farther. We can see the falls already. We're just trying to get to the top.
We're gonna tell them we just wanted to make them feel good, make sure they didn't fall or anything. Don't tell them we're just old and tired.
But it's mostly because we're old and tired. We got lied to. A little further back, we could see the whole waterfall, and someone told us, you go to the top, there's more waterfall, it's really pretty up there. No, it's fine. We saw the whole waterfall down there where I was less sweaty. You don't have to go all the way to the top.
It's beautiful. It's dry, ice cold. It's negative 100 degrees.
All right, we made it to the top. Top wasn't what we hoped. The middle was really the best part. Got some nice breeze there, cooled off, and definitely managed to get my cardio for the month in, so that's a bonus. I really do need to start working out again. I've gotten pretty lazy, and this little hike is proving it. So, guess it's back to the gym when I get home. Back on the Traverse, we headed into the small town of Aska, where I found something I wasn't expecting. We found Sasquatch. He's right there. I don't know why everyone's been complaining. He's just right there. As we crossed the Shallowford Bridge, it felt like we weren't just crossing into a new area, but into a new aspect of our adventure. From here, it felt like we'd be leaving civilization and we'd be on our own, out in the middle of nowhere, hoping to find a campsite. This was going to be a long stretch of dirt that would take us to places we never imagined.
Georgia was originally set up as a penal colony, and this is where it was a debtor's prison. So a lot of people that owed debts in the colonies or owed a mass amount of debt in Britain, they sent them here, and then when they finished their service, they could go to South Carolina or wherever else. A lot of them would end up in North Carolina because South Carolina was the richer of the two colonies. They couldn't afford to live in South Carolina. That's where the term tar heel comes from, because most of them were poor tobacco farmers out in the middle of nowhere, and they didn't have shoes, so they get that tobacco tar stuck to their feet.
Huh, I never knew that. So as we were driving down the road, we saw the remains of this old fireplace chimney from some homestead that used to be here. We actually recognized it from a recent Cottywomple video where they were doing the Georgia Traverse, and they saw this as well. So when we saw it, we're like, we're gonna stop and get a closer look at this.
Matt found a little chimney out here in the woods. I was messing with stuff, almost went right by it, and Matt's like, there's a chimney. You can tell it had been cleared off, and this was an old homestead. The only thing that's left over are the rocks from the foundation where the root cellar was, and the old chimney.
Seeing old remains like that is pretty interesting. All right, Carver, what's been your favorite part so far today?
Water crossings.
Tell me about the water crossings.
Very fun. Very deeper than we expected.
How's the trip so far?
Pretty fun. Pretty boring.
Wait, pretty fun, pretty boring. Those are opposites. All right, so we've been on dirt for a little while now, and it's starting to get late. It's about 5:30, and we're in hunt for campsite mode. And we just found this little offshoot, and it's a pretty tight fit, and it kind of goes uphill. And so we've sent Dee up ahead to kind of see where it goes and if there's a campsite and if there's room for the trailer or the trailer to turn around. Didn't want to go with the trailer just in case things got real tight and just dead-ended, and that would be a really hard thing to do and turn around. So we're gonna wait and see if this is a campsite. If not, we're gonna keep moving on. But this is the first night that we are definitely not staying at a a paid or a free forestry site. So we are on our own defined dispersed camping tonight along the trail, and so that's what we're currently hunting for. We've got some other possibilities, but so far it looks like it's a popular weekend, or a week really, being spring break, for people to be out. So during the week we expected to see less people, but because it's kind of a holiday week, there's the potential for more people to be on the trail. We haven't seen people on the trail, but we've seen people at campsites. So that's all we know at this point. So we're hunting for our campsite for the night.
Matt will not be able to get up this. Matt brought his trailer back here. Not gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Not gonna happen once. I don't know what we're gonna do, but I'm ready to get off this rope. That was super bumpy.
So we got up here, and there's enough room for the two of us, but it was pretty tight and crazy. I don't know if you'd be able to get there.
Oh, we'll get up there. We'll figure it out. All right, cool. We'll head up that way, and we'll see you shortly.
This ain't gonna happen. I ain't gonna be able to get up here.
So I think we found a campsite. Dee says it's nice up there. There's room for two. He's a little worried that the trailer is gonna have trouble getting up there, but honestly, I think we'll be just fine. I've taken the trailer up some pretty gnarly things in the past, and the Jeep has always been able to do it. So we'll stick it in 4 low. I've got lockers, disconnecting sway bars if we need it. But it should be a really cool trail, at least, to get to a really nice campsite. So here it goes. This is a really cool little offshoot. Definitely one of the more technical things that we have done on this trip. It reminds me a little bit of some of the offshoots that we did on the Scar to find some camping sites. So this has got much more of a climb to it, but it's definitely cool. And according to Dee and Carver, the view from the top is spectacular. We're banging the trailer hitch, or the tongue of the trailer a little bit on some of these, because there's, like, it kind of goes up and then it dips real quick. So if you hear a loud bang, it's the probably the tongue of the trailer.
Bro. Oh my gosh. Careful, Ranger. I'm just gonna fall off holding this dang camera. Oh my gosh.
This trail is awesome, but it's getting very tight and overgrown. This is not something that I think is used tremendously often. So we are definitely probably putting a couple little pinstripes into the Southlander. She's earning her stripes today, I think. But very cool trail. No trouble actually doing the trail. Just a little bit of scraping the tongue of the trailer on some of these little bumpy areas. But from a purely capable standpoint, it doesn't have any problem doing this, so that's good. Oh, I think we're almost at the top. Oh, I can't wait to show you these views.
Oh my god.
Man, I can't wait for you to try to edit this video with all the shaking. You're gonna get some like dizziness. Holy crap!
All right, we made it to camp. Took a little maneuvering of the vehicles. Had to pull the trailer off just to get it in a spot where it could be level. Southlander's here, me and Carver are here. Beautiful spot on top of this ridge. You can't really see it yet, but let me show you the view from here.
All right, so dinner is cooking. We are having steaks and mac and cheese, but Dee and Carver, they're going fancy. They've been watching too much Marco, I think. What do you got, Dee?
It's a camp version of a low country boil.
Low country boil at camp on top of a mountain. That's overlanding right there. That's
Bingo.
overlanding. Overlanding bingo. By the way, I am working on something that we're calling Overland Bingo. It's going to be a fun little game that you can play while overlanding, and when it's available, I'll let you know. But we've been coming up with lots of great ideas for Overland Bingo. If you've got ideas for Overland Bingo, throw them in the comments below. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We've had a lot of laughs this trip coming up with things for Overland Bingo. All right, I thought, oh gosh, stay, okay. I forgot that was attached. I was almost dropped my steak on the dirt. That would have been so bad. That would have been so bad. That would have been on the Overland Bingo card too.
Oh, yeah.
But okay, so I thought my steak and mac and cheese looked fantastic. Check out this low country boil here. It looks so good. I'm so jealous.
It smells good too. It smells phenomenal.
And just nurture this new friendship and fellowship that we've created here. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
And keep the weather under control.
And keep the weather under control.
I hope this is half as good as it looks.
There is something about the way food tastes when it's cooked outdoors. It's just different. I don't know what it is. You can do the exact same thing.
Inside, but outside.
I think it's the amazement of what we can do in this setting.
All right, we had dinner tonight. It was fantastic. Those steaks were just what we needed. It is a beautiful night, a beautiful view, but we were checking out the weather reports, and depending on the app we're looking at, they're calling for the possibility of some thunderstorms either late tonight or very early in the morning. And so we're trying to kind of figure things out now, because we are up at the top of this ridge. We are the highest thing around, so if we're getting thunder and lightning, it's not a place that we want to be. But there's also some weather reports that say it's not going to be here. It's going to dissipate before it gets here. So we're keeping an eye on that. But to be safe, I think we're going to pack up camp tonight and just have the tents ready. So if we do have to bug out in the middle of the night or very early in the morning, we don't have to pack up a lot of stuff. So we'll have a very easy breakfast in the morning. If we even have breakfast, we might just try to get into town and do like a brunch or something. So this is something new that we haven't really had to deal with, is major thunderstorms on a trail trip like this. And so we're just trying to play it safe. We got the kids with us. We don't want to do anything dumb. It's a best practice to not be out in the open with lightning and things. So we're gonna stay as long as we can, hoping that things pass, because right now it's just absolutely beautiful. This is one of the best views from a campsite we've ever had, just because it's so high and you can see everything around, but we want to be safe too. So that's where we're standing. We don't know what's going to happen yet, but we're gonna be keeping an eye on this weather. So as the sun went down, we packed up camp to a spectacular full moon and the calls of coyotes, not knowing what tonight would bring, what tomorrow would hold, and what the Georgia Traverse still had in store for us. Last night we went to bed not knowing if we'd have to abandon our gorgeous ridgeline campsite to rain, wind, and lightning. Luckily, Mother Nature decided to take it easy on us, for now. Good morning. We got up nice and early. It was still dark when we got up. We wanted to make sure we were packed up in case this rain hit, but looking at the weather, looks like it did in fact dissipate. So no storms, no rain, not even a lot of wind. It was another beautiful night here. Woke up to this gorgeous mountain sunrise that we all got to see. It's been a long time since we all got to see a sunrise together, so great morning, really excited about it. Long day today on the trails to get to where we want to go. So I hope we can get some miles behind us. We only did about 70 miles yesterday, 51 miles the first day. So we got to pick up the pace a little bit, push a little bit further. We've been stopping early, either because we were just really tired or we wanted to make sure we were at camp with enough time to set up in the daytime or enough time to find camp and stuff. So anyway, we're already all packed up. We just got the final things to load in the Jeeps and then reconnect the trailer and hit this gnarly little trail back to the Traverse and get on with our day.
We wanted to get back on the trail early to try and make up for as many miles today as possible. We had no idea at the time, but this might have been one of the best decisions we made. This little trail was just as tight going back down as it was coming up, and it left its fair share of love marks on the side of the Southlander. Ironically, as technical as this little section was, we got through it without any trail damage, something we wouldn't be able to say by the end of this trip, but more on that later.
Alright, so we've been pushing through pretty well this morning. Our goal is to get to Helen, Georgia, where we'll hopefully find a spot to have a nice sit-down lunch. But this section of trail, it started off with, you know, pretty mild roads and some blacktop, and then we got into these forestry roads. And these roads that have been sort of along the ridge of the mountains have been very rocky. Not like crazy technical, but very bumpy and rocky and slow going. So, you know, we're kind of cruising along between 5 and 10 miles an hour, and it's slowing us down a little bit, but we made really good time this morning. So we should get to Helen by lunchtime, which is the goal. But we're also trying to fight getting there before the weather starts getting bad, because by all accounts we might start seeing rain by 1 o'clock. So we're trying to kind of beat the weather and the time, and these roads are not particularly helping with that.
As we made our way down the trail, we came across a gorgeous waterfall right off the side of the road.
So even though we're running a little short on time, we passed through Helton Creek Falls. We decided we had to stop and at least check it out from the road. It's a beautiful waterfall, and it's pretty large. It goes all the way from there down to there. So it's a really nice view. You can actually like feel the mist from here, so it's a little refreshing. But these are the kinds of things we wanted to make sure we had time to stop and see along the way. We didn't want to just do the trail. We really wanted to make sure that we took the time to see the sights along the trail.
While we were checking out the falls, Carver had some other business he had to take care of.
You pulling it right now? Do it on camera. You got it? You got it. How does it feel to be one more tooth less? One less tooth full.
Pretty good. I want to get rid of that tooth all day.
Good job.
Almost immediately after the falls was a small water crossing. This area seems pretty heavily trafficked, and while it was really easy for us in our Jeeps, I'm not sure I would recommend it in a minivan. The sky was getting darker, and so we decided to push on to Helen, Georgia. We finally hit a small stream crossing directly onto paved road, which was a first for me. Helen, Georgia is a scenic little mountain town with one key distinguishing factor. It looks like a little German Bavarian village. It was wild leaving the mountains and driving into the pages of Hansel and Gretel. It's definitely a place I want to come back and spend a little more time at.
I never would have expected this in the middle of nowhere in Georgia. I never would have thought Helen would have been in like a little German Mecca.
Yeah, it's a cool little place. This is actually the first time I've been here. My parents have been here a couple times.
After a stop for some gas and some lunch, we were back on the road and eager to hit dirt again on our way to Trey Mountain. Alright, so we've been traveling the Georgia Traverse today, and we've done really well in terms of putting some miles behind us. The roads today have been forestry roads. They've been very rocky, very bumpy, and a little fatiguing. There's also been a lot of blacktop, which has given us the ability to really get the miles behind us quickly. But as we've gotten signal and we're checking on the weather, there's the potential for thunderstorms again tonight. Now, we got really lucky last night and they dissipated before they had a chance to get to us. But it looks like we're definitely going to be dealing with some type of rain event at some point this evening, whether that's just rain or thunderstorms. Different weather reports are giving us some different information, so we're going to be keeping our eye on that and trying to figure out where exactly we need to camp and when we need to be finding camp. So that's kind of what we're dealing with at the moment, is just sort of trying to figure out how far do we want to try to push it this afternoon, knowing that we still have to complete the rest of the Georgia Traverse tomorrow. Tomorrow's our last day, and I'm starting to feel a little time crunched. Not quite where I'm in like, oh no, we're not going to make it mode, but where I'm like, okay, tomorrow might be a longer day than we expect. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at, and we're still sort of looking at things and trying to figure this out as we go. As we traveled up Trey Mountain, things were looking really good and we were having a great time until we hit a roadblock, literally. This trip has really been smooth sailing the entire time until now. So this is the back half of Trey Mountain and apparently it is closed, which means now we have to basically backtrack for a pretty substantial period of trail and then reconnect with it and go around. So a little bit of a bummer that that's closed. We expected we'd probably find some road closures, we just weren't sure when, and well, sure enough, we found one. Unfortunately, it's, you know, the day we're in a time crunch and we're fighting potential storms. So, not what I was hoping for, but not unexpected. It's just one of those things you have to deal with when you're overlanding and exploring and stuff, is sometimes your plans change and you gotta redirect. So that's what we're doing.
We are right here. We would take and finish Trey Mountain, but now that road is closed, so now we got to go back down the original road and come above Helen to meet up here to go to Dix Creek.
So what kind of timing setback do you think that puts us in?
About 45 minutes, maybe, if we're lucky. We'll see. That's the whole point of this, isn't it?
So we headed back down Trey Mountain, feeling a little bummed that we didn't get to do the backside, and hoping we'd be able to meet up with the trail before any storms decided to come our way. Luckily, heading down the mountain seemed to go a little faster than going up. Eventually, we reconnected with Dix Creek, which had a couple of little fun water crossings, but would turn out to have some unexpected hurdles of its own. Another road closed. So this is Dix Creek, and we had plans of camping here tonight. This is what we were trying to get to, hoping that we could camp in here, and this is closed, which is unfortunate. We were really looking forward to that. That said, there's a campsite right there that is before the closed gates. The entrance to it is right over here. So we're checking now to see if this is private property or public land, just to make sure. If it's public land, then I think we're just going to stay here and simplify our lives a little bit. If it's not, then we're going to have to find somewhere else to be. But it's a bummer that that's also closed, because those are two sections of the Georgia Traverse that we really wanted to do, and both are currently closed. It is what it is. All right, so the consensus is that this campsite is in fact on public land, so we're gonna stay here. It's gonna be a tight fit getting the Jeep and the trailer in there, but I think we can do it. So here's hoping that we all fit. Getting into this campsite was a challenge, especially with the trailer. The path was tight and lined with trees, and it would be really easy to snag the trailer if I made any turn too wide or too tight. Alright, so we got the Jeep and the trailer into the campsite, and as we came in, we realized there's another trail that goes off from the campsite and actually has a water crossing almost right away. So what we did was we dropped the trailer off at the campsite, since we don't know where this goes and what it's like, but now I'm trailer free, so I'm a lot more maneuverable. So we're gonna go explore this trail real quick now that we've dropped the trailer off and see what's down there. And this might actually end up being a cool little detour.
That's kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah, this leads to basically nowhere.
I mean,
except for a very tight turnaround.
If you can get far over there to that side, I should be able to squeeze by you and do the same thing. But I was really expecting like some really cool old looking cabin, like big log.
Yeah, this was fairly anticlimactic. Climactic. I can't say that word right now. Anyway, yeah, did not go as planned.
Yeah, that was a big bummer.
So that was fairly anticlimactic. It's a hard word to say right now. Anyway, it's basically a water crossing to nowhere. So, oh well. We tried it. We'd explored. This would have been terrible with the trailer though. So at least we didn't do that. Alright, so we are back at camp and getting set up. I gotta get my tent set up, but we're starting to get all the other stuff unpacked out of the trailer. What's nice about a camping trip like this is that you start to get into a routine. The boys have learned what they need to do, what needs to get set up, and so I don't have to manage so much. They're kind of able to do a lot on their own, which is really speeding up the process of both setting up and tearing down, which is great because in the morning it's supposed to be raining. So we're gonna do another minimalist setup, kind of like we did last night, so that if we have to bug out either in the middle of the night because of weather, or it's just really nasty and rainy first thing in the morning, we don't have to worry so much about just being out and having so much to pack up. It's nice having extra hands that you can rely on. While I finished setting up camp, we tested the boys with getting wood ready for the fire. Alright, so we got camp pretty much set up. The boys are chopping firewood and getting the fire pit ready. I'm starting to work on dinner. Tonight's menu is chicken Alfredo. I'm excited about that. And I think Carver and Dee, what are you guys doing?
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
I'm jealous.
I'm kind of jealous too. Hot dogs are good. I'm a hot dog guy. I like hot dogs. Anyway, things look pretty great so far. We got a nice little river creek thing running right here, so we get the sound of that tonight. Hopefully the sky doesn't totally destroy us tonight. Definitely calling for rain around 9 p.m. which it gets dark here 7:30ish at this point, so 7:38, so a little after dark it should start raining. So hopefully by then we'll all be ready to be in our tents and rolling. So a little bit early dinner, trying to get everything done. Tomorrow I am so excited though, because tomorrow we finish off the Georgia Traverse with Charlie's Creek, which was where my off-roading and overlanding adventures began. So it's almost like a homecoming for me, though that trail is very different now. So I'm really interested to see what it's like now versus when I first went on it.
Grandma wouldn't let us play with fire, so she'd let us cook over her stove.
All right, Will, how's dinner?
Dude, it's good. Good stuff.
What do you think, Cam?
It's really good.
Carver, how's your hot dog?
Very good.
As we communed together, we were reminded of just how great this trip really was, closed roads and all. We shared stories and laughed, and deepened the bonds of these new friendships. As night fell, we packed up camp to the glow of the campfire and prepared ourselves for whatever storms we faced. Good morning. Well, we made it through the night without thunder and rain, except for that as soon as we woke up, we started hearing the storm coming. So now it's a race to tear down camp before the storm gets here. So we're gonna see if we can pack this thing up real quick. Not a lot to do, but gotta get the tents down and stuff and get out before the storm hits us. A stunning turn of events. I've gotten my tent down before the boys got theirs down. Theirs is actually easier to do. The rain has just started drizzling. Gotta finish packing up, get the trailer reconnected before it dumps on us, but the hard part's done. We're racing the clock now. We made it. We got everything packed up. We mostly beat the rain. We got rained on kind of at the very end, so we're a little wet, but not nearly as bad as if we had gotten dumped on. So all in all, I'm gonna count this one as a big win to be in the Jeep and on the road before the major part of the storm. So that was good. Oh, that's the fastest I've ever torn down camp in my life, I think. I think that was a new world record for the fastest camp teardown ever. That was pretty quick. I'm pretty proud of us. We may have beaten the rain, but getting out of this campsite with the trailer was going to be a challenge. One I wouldn't come out with unscathed.
Go in, driver. Wait a minute, your fender's caught. Come back. Oh, you caught your fender pretty good. Can you try and back the trailer up as straight as possible? Like cut your wheel, no, cut your wheels the other way. Alright, and then go straight towards that one tree. Go straight. Yeah. And then now turn as hard as you can to get out.
So the issue is that these trees are sort of zigzaggy and we can't quite. Getting the trailer down the first time was easy because we came in straight and then turned, but here we're starting crooked.
It's hard to see with the rain, the whole trailer. Keep going. Very close. Alright, you're good. Alright.
Yeah, so the first time we went through, we caught the fender on a little bit of the tree that was out, so we had to do some maneuvering to get it around that. But ultimately, we got it out, thanks to Cam running out in the rain. So, we made it out before the big storm.
Cam, enjoy a shower.
Since Dix Creek was closed, we backtracked to the highway to bypass that section and meet back up at Charlie's Creek, our final section before finishing the Georgia Traverse. Thankfully, by the time we reached Charlie's Creek, the rain had let up and we felt like someone was looking out for us today. All right, so we just got to Charlie's Creek, which is a really interesting trail for me, as it's the first off-road trail I ever did. Now, they've done a lot of grading of Charlie's Creek because it's an actual road and it had gotten pretty bad, and so for the time that I went to it to now, it's a very different trail, but it has a great water crossing at the end, and so I'm really excited to do that even with the weather today. We're hoping we'll hold off enough we can get some good footage of the trail, but I'm excited to be on this trail. I think it's a great bookend for this trip to kind of finish it off where I initially started this whole adventure. The rain had made the trail wet and in some places slippery. We just hoped it hadn't made any of the water crossings too deep, especially the final one, which would be the biggest water crossing of this trip. One of the biggest reasons for doing the Georgia Traverse from Alabama to South Carolina was that we could finish this trip at Charlie's Creek, which is considered by many to be the best part of the Traverse. And for good reason. Not only is it a beautiful trail, but it's full of fun and relatively easy obstacles. From some rocky features to perhaps the best water crossing on the whole trip, this trail has it all, and we weren't disappointed. Even the gloomy weather didn't bring us down. If anything, the rain and the fog added to the experience. While it's true this trail isn't nearly as technical as it was the first time I did it in my YJ, it's still a lot of fun, and it leads up to this epic final water crossing. If all the things that could have gone wrong on this trip that didn't weren't proof enough, this near disaster proved the man upstairs was watching out for us. As I was flying my drone back over the water, I hit a tree, and somehow the drone caught itself just above the water, and I was able to fly it back with no damage. Another catastrophe avoided. All right, we finished Charlie's Creek, and it was still a blast. It was definitely not the trail it used to be, but I was expecting it to be a lot more mundane than it actually was. It was still a very fun trail. The water crossing at the end is still the highlight. Almost lost the drone in the water as I was flying it back. I had the camera aimed and the back of it hit a tree, but it caught itself just before it hit the water, and so crisis averted. Then I'll tell you what, everything that could go right in this particular trip has gone right. Like, it's the opposite of a bad trip. It's been great in every aspect, and even the things that were like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be bad, turned out to be awesome. So this trip has just been so much fun. I'm so glad that we did it. It's just been one of those trips that just lifts your soul. It was time to finish out the Traverse. I hadn't thought this little bit would be boring, but as it turned out, it was some of the most fun and most beautiful sections of the trail we'd seen. People will argue what overlanding really is, but in the end, overlanding isn't really a thing at all. It's a feeling. The feeling you get when it's just you and nature, and you're exploring new places, making new memories, and new friends. For us, this trip was perfect, setbacks, weather, and all. To quote my boys, it was the best spring break ever. And in the end, how can you argue for anything better than that? This trip didn't so much have a destination as it did a goal to fill a void a vacuum that's left in the human soul when it spends too much time away from creation. And although we'd finished the trip, it felt like the beginning of a much, much bigger journey.
Find the moment and make it. Write your headline and raise it to the sky. No one else can create it. Take your banner and raise it to the sky. Take your banner and raise it to the sky.
We've made it off the trail. We have finished the Georgia Traverse. There's actually technically a little bit more of the Georgia Traverse, but it's an overlap with the sections we've done in the Scar. So we've already done it. I already have videos about it. I will link them up here if you're interested in seeing those sections of the Scar that overlap. But we had an absolute blast. We were at Chick-fil-A to grab some lunch before we start heading down the highway to get home. This will be the last time we air up, but we had an awesome trip. All right, D, Carver, tell me what you thought about the Georgia Traverse.
I liked it. I think the campsites were actually pretty good. Especially the one on top of that mountain.
That was an epic campsite. So this is the last time we're gonna air up and have some lunch and hang out. So D, it was awesome. I'm so glad we got to do this together. Carver, you're the man. Tell everyone what to do now.
Like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff, and always stay outdoors.
This is my time.
It's beautiful.